to do a promotion about SCORE. Not sure those of you out there know what SCORE is about, who we are, what we do. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about it. We are a national nonprofit organization where we have 13,000 members all over the country and 350 chapters. Our mission is to foster small business. We're dedicated to helping businesses start, grow, and succeed. And we're a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. Okay. How we do this, the Bucks County chapter in itself serves the entire county. So it's quite a large area. And we have 50 members with experience in all facets of business. We offer free mentoring services, educational seminars, such as the one you're going to hear tonight. And if you sign up with us to either be a member or a mentor, mentoring services are offered at no charge. You can have them for as short a time or as long a time as you need us. So we're there for you to help you succeed in your small business. So to find out a little bit more about us, you need help with your business, we have a website, buckscounty.score.org, and you can call us at this phone number listed here. If you're interested in helping us and becoming a member of the chapter and becoming a mentor or a workshop presenter, you can also find us at those same places, and you'll find tabs that say, I'd like to be a member, I would like to help SCORE with their mission, or I'd like to get a mentor and succeed in my business as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the man who is running our seminars for us. He's the seminar chairman for SCORE Bucks County, and his name is Ed Torello. Ed?
Thank you very much, Linda, and welcome to everyone. I think this is the beginning of our year-long set of webinars that we're going to be presenting. We've got 35 of them already planned and another 5 in the works. So we'll probably have 40 for the year. We're going to be posting our year schedule so that you can put it in your appropriate electronic calendars in a very short period of time. And we're covering topics like the new normal and its business impact, cash flow, liability insurance, how you start a business, how you succeed at the bank, for example, and things like how you sell a business, how you buy a business. We have all of these topics that we've done some research, and it appears as though this is what everybody's interested in. So we've put together a complete seminar package for you going through the whole year. So amounts to September to September. With that, we'd like to start with one that we're looking as an umbrella for what we're going to be presenting during the year. And Alberto Casita is our moderator, is our presenter. Al has worked for Westinghouse Electric for 35 years. He was in engineering management. He was a managing director for Europe and handled market penetration. He had for 6 years, I might add. He was a managing director in Brazil, where he handled business development for Westinghouse. And he's been with SCORE, now that he's retired, for the past 7 years. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Al and let him begin the presentation. And as Linda said, if you have questions, click your question icon, and at the end, I will moderate the questions. With that, Al.
Thank you very much, Ed, and it's a pleasure to be here and to talk about a very important subject, is the recovery from COVID. The business, over the last 6 months, the business have been operating in a crisis mode, dealing with the consequences of public health measures established to control the virus. With the virus in better control, the business restrictions are now being relaxed, and there is a sense that we are returning to normal. The key question is, which normal are we talking about? The old normal no longer exists because the large transformations that already taken place. So we need to look forward. The post-COVID end state is still not clear due to uncertainties related to the virus control again. when the vaccine is going to be available, how effective it's going to be, and so on. So that determines the impact of the final control of the virus. So next normal seems a good definition. It suggests something more dynamic and changing. And in the meantime, business must act and deal with the uncertainties involved and plan. Those many business already started. And those that have not, then they need to put a plan together and begin that road. So the purpose of this webinar is to provide an analysis framework to develop an action plan specific for your business and that consider other relevant experience. And it's going to be applicable for those that have started or not started yet. So we are going to have three basic sections. First, we talk about the COVID-19 crisis and evolution. It's an overview of past disruptions and how COVID is going to evolve. Then we'll talk about business transformations, and we'll show a series of examples of creativity and adaptations that have taken place of companies that are succeeded in operation. And finally, the moving forward process is a framework to assess the impact that your business is having, as well as a plan of action. So talking about the COVID crisis, disruptions always have long-lasting effects. And I'm going to discuss three specific events that we have in our history, starting with World War II, with the deployment, the massive deployment to the war. The women were invited to fill the jobs in the domestic front, and that marked the starting of the women in the workforce. And after the war, that shift persisted and continues to today, and grow and expanded, and with the women joining the workforce. The second was a virus outbreak, SARS, in 2003, and because people were afraid of going out shopping, they shift to online commerce, online shopping, and that once again it started this changing in behavior and pattern that persisted since that. And the third one is the 9/11, the terrorist attack in New York, that fundamentally reshaped transportation and security around the world. Many travel restrictions and screenings were ultimately accepted by the public, given the benefit for public security. But the effects continue to today, and because the threat is still there. But this is to show that disruptions always have long-lasting effects, and COVID is not going to be different. So talking about the COVID, the COVID outbreak disruption created a lot of uncertainties, which then turn into anxiety and fears about the future. And the individual responses to those fears are very significantly, but it's very similar to the process of grieving. It starts with confusion. There is a lot of conflicting information, extreme views. One side is total denial. This is just a flu. This is going away. It's overblown by the press. And the other side is people buying in the supermarkets, cleaning shelves in an incredible way. So after things are better clarified, more clarified, better understanding what's happening, we start the acceptance phase. The impact is more clear. They're beginning to accept the reality of the new situation. They're beginning to open to new ideas, and business is basically focused on short term. So that then comes the preparation phase, in which there is a better understanding of the long-term impacts, awareness of what's coming, the business models, the business are beginning to respond to the crisis. And in a situation where safety is important, customer is at the center, is very important to make sure that they feel safe to do business with you. So the first two phases, basically people are looking back to the past, and with phase 3, they begin to look forward to the future. And so once the virus is control is improved, then comes phase 4, is the recovery. There are clear objectives of the next normal. There is business begins to make long-range plans. At the same time, they learn the lesson. They are being prepared from a business perspective for a potential new virus. So this is the general sequence that it's very similar to the grieving process. And this is where we are in terms of the United States. We are basically in the preparation phase. It's very difficult to say, to have just a single position, because it's very heterogeneous. There are parts of the country with virus under control, other parts are still not, and there are business flourishing, other business are not. So, but in general, we are in the preparation. And China and South Korea have recovered, and China, I think, has as an objective, the GDP plan is to grow in 2020, while in the United States, the GDP forecast is a negative 4%. So this is the general trend, which implies a control of the virus, and it would be very difficult to be in recovery with a high level of transmission of what's happening. So just to give an idea, the significance of the economic impact, this is the amount of stimulus that have been provided by each country. In the dark, the black circles are the amount of GDP that was injected during the financial crisis of 2008. And the blue circles is the amount of GDP that is being injected for the COVID crisis. As you can see, the United States data of as of May has about 2.5 more money than was used in the financial crisis. So, so this is a recognition that this is a very important event and needs a lot of money to ensure business continuity. So this is a brief introduction to this. I'd like to move into the business transformation and the examples. So we start with this, the business planning horizon. A few months ago, perhaps it doesn't look like, but there is a stable, predictable, long-term planning horizon. So the organizations, the business were able to develop 3 to 5 years business plan, manage, and if there is a problem far away, they will have enough time to make corrections to avoid the problem and so on. And unfortunately, COVID brought a different scenario. And this is a thing of the past, is no longer possible. And the reality is this, it's less predictable, very short term. So you need to get it going, and your success is going to be dependent on your agility and ability to correct, because you have a very short lead time. Once you detect a problem, you need to change it very quickly. So some key trends from China, since they went through this entire process, was major acceleration on the digital transformation that really started in 2003, but now it involves everything, including business to business. There is a recognition that they need to reduce their exposure to the global market because they are too dependent. Number one, they dependent on exports, but they also dependent on capital and technology. And the level of competition has intensified because smaller players with good technology and being able to change and very quickly are able to compete much more with the big companies. So there is much more competition. And consumers, of course, are more prudent and health conscious. So some of those trends, I think, will translate to the US as well. So talking about specifically the US, there is a lot of work going on, specifically related to COVID-19. There are many vaccines being developed at this time. And just to my surprise, I found this extremely interesting. There are 40-something vaccines in different stages of human trial. From those, and this is phase 3 is the last phase. Phase 1 is there is a small sample being tried. Phase 2 is thousands of people, and phase 3 is even larger. It's showing here that there are 5 vaccines with limited approval, but 1 is Russian, 4 are Chinese, and they are not really applicable to the US market. So those 11 in phase 3, which is the last stage of testing, 4 are very close to be sent for approval. So the vaccine, it's in the horizon. Now the question becomes the distribution and the vaccination of large amount of people, and in order to have the right level of immunity. So, but this is coming. In addition to the vaccine, there are many products and suppliers for COVID tests, sanitation, and protection equipment. So there is a lot of innovation related to the disease itself. However, there is, like in China, a huge expansion of e-commerce. And just to give you an idea, Amazon achieved a 10-year growth in 3 months. Their second quarter profit was double compared to last year. They have the right model, the right business model, the right approach for the pandemic, and they are really capitalized on it. In addition to that, contactless deliveries has been a requirement. People do not want to go, in fact, they couldn't go to restaurants. So there are restaurant delivery services. And one of those is DoorDash, which in April achieved 50% of all the food delivery in the US. And they expanded services for pharmacy and grocery stores as well. And this little company is now valuated at $16 billion. This is incredible growth. So, the pandemic, the disruption, it accelerates everything. And over here in the drone and robot deliveries, this was science fiction views of a few months ago, and this is already becoming a reality with real testing in real applications. So in addition to that, the white collar force was asked to be working from home, in order to avoid transportation and contact. That started as remote working, but it's really a trend that is being reinforced more and more to be a decentralized work model. So many of people working from home, I think, do not necessarily want to go back to work in the office, which, by the way, is going to be very different than what was before. But this is a trend, decentralized work, which requires even companies to develop better skills in how to manage this change. Another example is telemedicine, because people wanted to avoid visiting clinical offices or doctor's offices, so they would rather do by video. And just to give one example, a Children's Hospital in Cincinnati in 2019 have accomplished 2,000 sessions during the year, and they put together some business plan in order to perhaps double that capacity in 3 to 4 years. And today they are doing 5,000 sessions a week. So again, this is a monumental growth that is unimaginable. So another good example is airline industry that in the US is doing a lot more cargo flights because of limitations on passenger transportation. But there is, in Asia, there is an interesting trend. In Australia, Qantas is inaugurating a flight called Flight to Nowhere. It's people will have a sightseeing flight through Australia. It's like an international flight. It's a 7-hour flight, and the tickets are equivalent to an international flight, and they take off and land from the same airport. So this is a revenue stream that I'm sure that they never thought. And I think was announced yesterday, I saw that Singapore Airlines is taking this to a different direction. They are inaugurating a restaurant in a big jumbo jet, so people can enjoy the fine cuisine of airplane or air flight, the flights. So, but if you have a place for 500 people and they feel it's going to bring a lot of revenue. By the way, the Qantas experience, they posted on the site and was sold out in 10 minutes. So this gives a different meaning that in travel, destination is not the only thing. You know, the experience in the journey is also important. So so these are some other examples. This in the small business. On the left is a professional photographer that was unable to use his studio because of the pandemic, and he went around his neighborhood taking pictures of families on the porch, and he would give them for free. And he became so popular, he got requests, and he's doing this for free. But what he's really accomplishing is extending his addressable customer database. And I'm sure that once the pandemic is over, people that need those services, they know who to contact. And on the right is a startup company that partner with farmers to rescue good produce that otherwise be destroyed. And they are now distributing to senior citizens for free. So these are some examples, but there are some trends that are very clear that should be good assumptions moving forward. First, it will take time for the next normal, whatever that is or that events are. is not a matter of weeks, and perhaps not 3 to 4 months. It may be longer than that. And some, like other disruptions, some of the impacts will be permanent. There is social distancing is going to be with us for some time. And safety is key for customer trust, particularly if you have a physical store. The customer will not visit or buy if they are not, if they don't trust that is a safe environment. So fast innovation and changes will continue, like the ones that I've indicated, and lean, flexible, and agile business is going to be key for your success in the future. And financial resilience is needed. You need to have money to operate your business, and be prepared for potential virus surges. Like in Europe, for example, at the moment, in England, they are the same levels of at the beginning of the year. In Spain, the same thing. So it's in the US, we started in Northeast, then we moved to the South. So it's the fact that you have low infection rates today doesn't mean that it's forever, because again, if you relax on social distance, you get spikes. So these are more important. There's going to be many opportunities. There is a tendency for us to focus too much on the negative side of the disruption, but the positive side of disruption is opportunities. And you need to make sure that you are in tune with it. You pay attention to trends, in order to capitalize. So these are before we move to the next block, would you like to take a poll to understand your specific concerns at the moment? So Charlie, if you could, we appreciate your answer. We'll take a few seconds to wait until you can click your option here. It's educational to understand what are your views on that. Okay. Charlie is closed.
No, we still have a few people trying to vote.
Okay.
Okay, I think I will close it now. Folks have seemed to stop.
Very good. So you are seeing the results, and managing business with high uncertainty is, of course, the biggest concern, which is valid. The second is run out of cash is also extremely important. And virus controls bring additional restrictions. Is the third. So very interesting. So we'll address and hopefully we'll cover some of those. Thank you. So in developing the action plan, we are proposing a couple of steps. Step number one is an evaluation of your business assessment and the impacts that COVID had and perhaps the opportunities. Step number two is to understand the experience of other businesses that could be of could guide your plan, could help you in defining your plan. The third is select, of course, those step 1 and 2 are going to generate a lot of activities, and you need to make sure that you select the most promising ones, and then end with a financial analysis in order to confirm that the plan that you have will bring the results that you want. So we start with the business assessment, and we're going to, our suggestion is to use two very known business models. It's business model canvas and SWOT analysis. And I will provide an overview only, because those two subjects are maybe subject of separate webinars, because they are very important tools. But I'll provide an overview so you understand the basics of it. So the business model canvas is a planning and management planning tool that enable you to evaluate, describe, and change your business model. And there are many advantages compared to the conventional business plan. It's a focus because it's one page. All the information is in one page. It's simple, easy, and very, you can revise very quickly. So it's a very powerful tool. So I will have a small video to describe how it works. So it will be better than I explain it.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touch points you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
So as you saw, it's a very simple model, very powerful, can be used for small business, big business. And the interesting part is you see the top quadrant is basically the external view of your business, and the left corner, it's the internal view of your business. So this is again, any changes in one segment, there's ramifications on the other, and that's the powerful of the power of this model, because you can see and interact. So for each of the blocks, there is a set of questions that are they're established to trigger your thinking. And we don't have time to go through all of this, but the copy of the presentation that you are going to receive will have all those questions populated in all those blocks. So this is an example of a canvas. a very old product called iPod. I'm sure that you remember, but this is how simple it is. There are no long paragraphs. It's not a fancy document. It's capturing the idea in a very simple way. In fact, it's recommended to use Post-it with the ideas because it's simple to revise and change as needed. So so this then can provide you a good assessment of this should provide you, give you the opportunity to evaluate the impacts of COVID first in each of those blocks. And then you could use another side of this. What are the opportunities? So one is defensive, the other one is offensive. So make sure that you do both. The second tool is the SWOT analysis, was developed in the 60s and 70s. And it's an effective decision-making tool. And basically, you evaluate the internal and external environment. The internal environment are strengths and weaknesses, and the external environments are opportunities and threats. And they are combined such that strengths and opportunities are helpful to your objectives, and weaknesses and threats are harmful to your objectives. So you need to find a couple of strengths and couple of weaknesses in each of the categories. You need to look at the market, competition, technology, government, regulatory trends, assets, finance, customer satisfaction. So pick the most important issues that you have, and then proceed with the analysis. But then you take the strengths, use your core capabilities that you have a strength, and use that to pursue the opportunities. And strengthen your good products for sure. And the other side is the defensive side, is find a way to mitigate the weaknesses and threats in some way. So these are the two fundamental ways to use it. This is an example of Starbucks. As you can see, it's simple, clean, concise, fewer rather than long lists. And you have to take the 3 or 4 that are most important for your business to make sure that there is clarity in your understanding of what you have to do. So this is, again, very powerful. That should enable you to do a good analysis. So moving on to the general considerations or the experience of other business in their journey. So we're going to address regulatory changes, marketing, finance, and business model. In regulatory and safety, you need to prioritize safety, but more importantly, you need to make it visible. You need to comply with CDC requirements and as well as state and local requirements. You need to make visible all the measures, particularly if you have a physical store. The customer, you need to make it absolutely clear with signs, sanitizer, masks, and everything else, so the customers will feel they are in a safe environment. You need to provide safety protection equipment to your employees, and you need to develop guidelines for employee health monitoring. One thing you don't want to happen is a sick employee to report into work. So make sure that you have that discussion before it happens. In finance, you need to manage short-term response and build resilience. It's to mitigate financial risks, take advantage of all the 8 programs that exist. The SBA has 2 very important ones, the disaster loan it's very attractive rates, and the Paycheck Protection Plan is another loan that if you meet some requirements, parts of that or completely could be forgiven. So they are loans that can be transformed into grants. In addition to that, state, county, and corporations have grants available. It's a matter of apply. State and county, our experience here in Pennsylvania has been, they have 2 rounds of opening, and they are short notice, and they're open for just a few days. So make sure that you have the documentation, your financial records in clean and ready for submittal, because if you don't, you are not going to have time to apply. In addition to that, you don't have to say, but you need to run a super lean business. You are in a survival mode, and therefore you need to scrub your cost in a way that you are absolutely lean. One caveat is you need to be careful. You should not cost reduce activities that are impacting quality and safety. This is extremely important, because if you do it, you're going to see that it's the wrong decision. Review inventory. Many times people have high levels of inventory, and you need to keep it as small as possible, but continue to operate. And obtain a line of credit. It's again for that should be used only for activities that generate revenue, because the loan has to be paid off. Next will be customer-centric to gain trust. Upgrade your website for easy customer experience. You need to provide rich content, images, storytelling. Content is selling. You need to have empathetic message, information that helps your customers cope with the situation, things like that. And make sure that your direct engagement, you tailor the message for the different phases of the sale process. The sale process goes through a funnel. First, your customer is going to look at you to establish the awareness of your products and you. Then he's going to make sure that you are authentic and respected. And 3, you're going to trust. They're going to be looking for transparency, consistency, and so. So after that, then they'll be prepared for a purchase. So, and each of those phases have specific types of information that goes from educational to marketing that you need to provide. As we've indicated, this disruption is causing many changes that is going to result in new needs and pain and points of pain that needs to be resolved. Pay attention to trends. Listen to your customers to make sure that you understand. And then finally, use social media, create promotions, and obtain feedback to make sure that you understand what's working, what's not working. So in a business model, high uncertainty, business continuity should be the focus, and maximize digital presence to serve customers. If you don't have a website, make sure that you put something together, simpler, but it's better than nothing. Focus on customer service. Again, the customer is looking for safety, is looking for transparency, and you need to make sure that you achieve good service in providing your service, your products. Evaluate your product mix and channels to make sure that your old products are still good, or if there are any revisions that you you have to do it. And if your new channels, if your channels, your customers are no longer going to use, and you perhaps need to shift to another way to reach the customers. As we discussed a couple of times, agile response to market and competitive dynamics is going to be extremely important because things are happening fast and you need to respond very quickly. And finally, assure security of supply. Your suppliers are having the same problems that you are having, and they are restricted the same way. And if you use foreign suppliers, make sure that you understand, because there is higher risk with foreign suppliers, and you need to understand the implications in your business. So once you develop all the you pick the points that are applicable to your business, you need to generate all the alternatives from the business model canvas and the SWOT analysis comes the financial COVID impact. Is there a revenue gap? There are companies that don't have the revenue gap. They're growing like Amazon. There are others that have, because they are operating with restricted capacity. Your costs are going up because all the sanitization that you need to provide, all the equipment and so on. And your value proposition may be changing because there are different requirements. Customer segments, you should not assume that all the same customers you have are coming back, and you need to understand exactly how it's going to work. Supply chain, we've talked, and channels, the same thing. So you maybe require revisions that you need to evaluate. And on the other side is the opportunities. There is additional revenue possible for new revenue streams that you have not considered. Are you able to have new products? Can you access new customer segments and so on? And the other changes are going to be related to marketing, safety, fixed cost. If you can renegotiate some of your fixed costs, that's the time to do it. So once you consolidate all those actions that are specific to your business, then I'm sure that the number is going to be significant. So you need to down select this using a filter like potential benefit, ROI, reduce break even, and out of that come up with a selected actions with the high potential for benefits. And that's your plan moving forward. Before you implement, then you need to go to the final step, is the financial analysis. And for that, our recommendations a 6-month profit and loss projection, in which you define at least two scenarios, one best estimate and one pessimistic, so you can try to bound the results. And in order to do that, you need to estimate demand for your products, what are the costs, direct, indirect, to obtain net profits. But remember, this is the results of hypotheses that you made. And you need to make sure that you're going to monitor very closely in order to see how it's happening. If it's not profitable, then you need to go back and check to see if additional changes can improve the situation. If not, then you have a decision point that you need to make. And in some cases may be difficult, but you have to decide what to do. So an observation about the profit and loss projection is small business owner in particular, have a misconception about who does this. It's not their accountant. The accountant can help, but this is looking forward. The accountant always establish a P&L statement looking backwards with the actual numbers that business that already happened. And in this case, you are estimating business in the future. And you are the best person to do it because you have knowledge of the product, the customers, and the segments. Understand that there are uncertainties and you need to make assumptions relative to that as well. So once you make a decision to go forward, then you need to monitor very closely and be prepared to adapt. You don't have to wait 6 months to see that this thing is not working. You get the P&L results, the actual results, and compare to plan at least once a month. So with this, we come to some takeaways, and the point is that you need to have a balanced perspective of this disruption. There are problems and there are opportunities. And the six-month P&L statement is your roadmap for your business. Track it closely, and if it's not work, change it. And as we discussed, other businesses have done that, and they are able to survive. Disruptions accelerate changes, which generates opportunities. Customer needs, preference, and behaviors are changing. So do not assume that what's working before will continue to work. And again, business must be agile and quick to transform in order to capture those opportunities. Ultimately, you as the business owner need to identify what's the best strategy for you. There is no other person that can do for you. It's your decision. So in times like this, you're facing a tremendous challenge here, really unprecedented. It's important that you get external views and support. One that is too close to the tree may not see the forest. And if you have someone with a set of independent eyes and different perspectives, may be able to help you in this journey. And SCORE is, again, as Linda indicated in the beginning, we provide mentoring, training, and other resources. And all the mentoring today is being done remotely via email, video, or telephone. And we can help in different ways. We can serve as a soundboard to test your assumptions. We can guide in developing a plan. We can provide support in the financial analysis and so on. So with this, I schedule an appointment today with a SCORE mentor so you can benefit from this interaction. It's free, so there is no downside other than your time. So thank you very much. I wish you success in your endeavor, and hopefully we'll be able to. Do we have any questions, Ed?
Mute. Oh, here we go. I'm waiting for people to put their questions in. In the meanwhile, I would like to say that Al has given us a great overview of sort of the world as we're going to see it going forward. And what we're going to try and do with the remainder of our 2020 and 2021 webinars is sort of take each of those business canvas sections, for example, and have a webinar on those. And I think you're going to find it extremely helpful. At the same time, you should know that the SCORE volunteers are all schooled, so to speak, in helping you to fill out the business canvas, to discuss the business canvas, and to go over how you should be either setting up your business or operating your business more efficiently. And all of this, as Albert said, is free. We're happy to help you. So I'm taking a look. My thing does not say any questions. People, in order to ask a question, you have to click down there where it says Q&A. In the meanwhile, Al, perhaps you could talk a little bit more about how you see the new normal really getting impacted with all of this social media. I realize everybody's on it and everybody's doing things about it, but it seems to me like that's going to really pick up a lot of the advertising space and the interaction with customers that before was handled either by newspapers or in person or things like that. How do you see that?
Well, I think being contactless and remote is going to be very important. So I think advertising is a shift that starts a couple of years ago. It's the majority is going to be done through social media, and but in some cases, the business owners needs to have a website that can complement the social media presence in order to advertise. The important thing is that they with social media advertising, they'll be able to have immediate feedback on the results of the ad. Who is open, when is open, and so on. And that's a very important tool to feedback and change what we are doing.
We have a question coming in. Is there a fast way to estimate ROI on tactics you decide to try based on a SWOT?
Not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, neither do I.
But in any case, the 6 months net revenue, net profit stream, you can use do some calculations and see how much is going to cost you to implement and what is the result of that. And out of this comes the return of investment. It could be very simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Really, 6 months is not a long period of time to have the effects of interest and so on. So if you see the sum of the net profits that are additional as a result of this campaign, and you see the cost, then you can have an initial quick estimate.
So another question is, can you apply or how would you apply the business canvas to purchasing a business? I realize it's sort of, I mean, I assume what they want to know is, do you lay it out sort of the same way that's presented in our business canvas? Is that a good first step?
Yeah, I think you need to develop a canvas for not the business but for the product. What is the value proposition of the business that you are going to acquire? Because that's what's going to drive everything else.
Okay. And another question is, within the business canvas, how do you work in the whole topic of human resources? It's an essential part of anything now and of any business. And how do you kind of work that in?
Well, the human resources is going to be a key activity, okay?
Right.
For you to execute, to deliver the value proposition, you need to have a human resource that is going to hire, manage the benefits and so on. So it should be here.
In the key activities. Okay.
Key activities.
Yeah, because people are interested in how that fits in. The other thing is within this, because the business canvas is really the underlying item that you use when you're looking at buying, selling, or operating a business. How do you factor in the technical and social media aspects? Where would you put that, in key activities or key resources?
Well, here in key activity is going to be marketing.
Okay.
Marketing is one, and that could be any type of marketing.
Right, so within that, we would put social media and everything else.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have scheduled going further in the year, some in-depth talks about social media and how it helps people. But from your perspective, it seems like it is one of the most key items going forward in this whole pandemic story. How do you view that? I assume.
Yeah, this is a very good way to analyze the problem, you know, and I encourage people to take a look at the reference here. Alexander Osterwald is the author of this particular canvas, and he has a lot of public publications that you can access. Just do a Google search in his name, and you're going to see videos and paper works that explain everything.
All right. Within the context of this, just one more question about liability insurance, which is very important these days. Where does that fall here in the canvas? We're going to have a special.
Definitely going to be a cost, right?
Yes.
Should be here.
Okay. We're going, just so the folks know, we're going to have a special on liability insurance in the very near future. One of our SCORE members is an expert in this area, and he's going to give us a presentation about it. I think based on my thing, that appears to be all of the questions. So we're pretty much at our allotted time. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. I want to thank Al. And if you have any questions, Al put up his email and a phone number, or you can just go with scorevolunteer.org, Bucks County, and we'll be happy to help you. Here it is. Thank you, Al. We're always ready to help. We've got 40 plus mentors, and we've all got basic skills that will help anyone. And a lot of us have very specific skills, and we try and tailor the people who request our help to the people with the skills that looks as though they can help them the most. So with that, we'll say thank you very much. Al, have you anything to add?
So if you have any questions or concerns or clarifications about what we discuss here, feel free to contact me.
Right. Okay, and I'll put up on the screen here his email address and a phone number also. So again, thank you very much.
Okay.
And Charlie, I guess that ends the presentation.